Hare Krishna. Here we are, Russell Square Park. First day of lockdown for the UK. Hope everyone else is okay.
UK okay? Get it? Okay. It's pretty chilly out here, but we're still going to do a little read.
Yeah.
Might be a little shorter than usual. Hello, Lalita Madhavi.
Oh, Hare Krishna, Lalita Madhavi.
Okay, say the invocation. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Okay, so text 5. Maharaj Parikshit said, O learned Brahmana, you know everything because you are without material contamination. Therefore, whatever you have spoken to me appears perfectly right. Your speeches are gradually destroying the darkness of my ignorance, for you are narrating the topics of the Lord. Purport. The practical experience of Maharaj Parikshit is disclosed herein, revealing that transcendental topics of the Lord act like injections when received by the sincere devotee from a person who is perfectly uncontaminated by material tinges. In other words, reception of the messages of Srimad Bhagavatam from professional men heard by a Karma Kandiya audience never acts miraculously as stated here. Devotional hearing of the messages of the Lord is not like hearing ordinary topics. Therefore, the action will be felt by the sincere hearer by experience of the gradual disappearance of ignorance. Yasya devi parabhaktir yata devi tata gurum tasyaiti katita he artha prakasanti mahatmana. When a hungry man is given food to eat, he feels satiation of hunger and the pleasure of dining simultaneously. Thus, he does not have to ask whether he has actually been fed or not. The crucial test of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam is that one should get positive enlightenment by such an act.
A couple of important points. First one is that hearing Bhagavatam acts like injections, especially in the time we're living in at the moment.
Vaccines. This is the perfect vaccine.
We need injections. There's that dog that wouldn't walk down the road earlier. So,
dog watching.
Dog watching.
Yeah, it's going to come right to us.
So we need to inoculate ourselves against the material energy, against Maya. And then this interesting statement at the end, the crucial test of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam is that one should get positive enlightenment by such an act. So I guess we have to ask ourselves, are we feeling enlightened?
Yes.
Well, are you?
Here it is. It's okay.
No problem. Okay. It's either parrots or dogs.
Text 6.
Text number 6. I beg to know from you how the personality of Godhead by his personal energies creates these phenomenal universes as they are, which are inconceivable even to the great demigods. Purport. In every inquisitive mind, the important question of the creation of the phenomenal world arises, and therefore for a personality like Maharaj Parikshit, who was to know all the activities of the Lord from his spiritual master, such an inquiry is not uncommon. For every unknown thing we have to learn and inquire from a learned personality. The question of creation is also one of such inquiries to be made to the right person. The spiritual master, therefore, must be one who is sarvagya. As stated herein before, in connection with Shukadev Goswami, thus all inquiries on God which are unknown to the disciple may be made from the qualified spiritual master. And here the practical example is set by Maharaj Parikshit. It was, however, already known to Maharaj Parikshit that everything we see is born out of the energy of the Lord, as we have all learned in the very beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Janma Yasya Yataha. So, Maharaj Parikshit wanted to know the process of creation. The origin of creation was known to him, otherwise he would not have inquired how the personality of Godhead by his different energies, creates this phenomenal world.
The common man also knows that the creation is made by some creator and is not created automatically. We have no experience in the practical world that a thing is created automatically. Foolish people say that the creative energy is independent and acts automatically, as electrical energy works. But the intelligent man knows that even the electrical energy is generated by an expert engineer in a localized powerhouse, and thus the energy is distributed everywhere under the resident engineer's supervision. The Lord's supervision in connection with creation is also mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita 9.10, and it's clearly said there that the material energy is a manifestation of one of many such energies of the Lord. Parasya Shakti Vividaiva Shruyate. An inexperienced boy may be struck with wonder by seeing the impersonal actions of electronics or many other wonderful things conducted by electrical energy. But an experienced man knows that behind the action is a living man who creates such energy. Similarly, the so-called scholars and philosophers of the world may, by mental speculation, present so many utopian theories about the impersonal creation of the universe. But an intelligent devotee of the Lord, by studying the Bhagavad Gita, can know that behind the creation is the hand of the Supreme Lord, just as in the generating electrical powerhouse there is the resident engineer. The research scholar finds out the cause and the effect of everything. But research scholars as great as Brahma, Shiva, Indra and many other demigods are sometimes bewildered by seeing the wonderful creative energy of the Lord. So what to speak of the tiny mundane scholars dealing in petty things? As there are differences in the living conditions of different planets of the universe, and as one planet is superior to others, the brains of the living entities in those respective planets are also of different categorical values. From the Bhagavad Gita, one can understand that the long duration of life of the inhabitants of Brahma's planet is inconceivable to the inhabitants of this planet Earth. Similarly, the categorical value of the brain of Brahmaji is also inconceivable to any great scientist of this planet. Yet even with such high brain power, Brahmaji considers the brain of the Supreme Lord inconceivable. Among the powerful demigods in charge of the management of the universal affairs, Brahmaji and Shivaji are called Ishvara or Adi Ishvara. Still, Ramaji has described Lord Krishna as the supreme Ishvara in his great Samhita, Brahma Samhita 5.1, as follows: Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchit Ananda Vigraha Anade Ade Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. There are many personalities possessing the qualities of Bhagavan, but Krishna is the supreme, because none can excel him. He is the supreme person and his body is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. He is the primeval Lord Govinda and the cause of all causes.
That whole section. Brahmaji admits Lord Krishna to be the supreme cause of all causes. But persons with tiny brains within this petty planet Earth think of the Lord as one of them. Thus, when the Lord says in the Bhagavad Gita that He, Lord Krishna, is all in all, the speculative philosophers and the mundane wranglers deride Him, and the Lord regretfully says, Avajananti ma mudha manushim tanum ashritam parambhavam ajanato mam bhuta maheshwaram. Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature and my supreme dominion over all that be. Brahma and Shiva, and what to speak of the other demigods, are Buddhas, or powerful created demigods who manage universal affairs, much like ministers appointed by a king. The ministers may be Ishwaras or controllers, but the Supreme Lord is Maheshwar, or the creator of the controllers. Persons with a poor fund of knowledge do not know this, and therefore they have the audacity to deride Him because He comes before us by His causeless mercy, occasionally as a human being. The Lord is not like a human being. He is Satchit Ananda Vigraha, or the absolute personality of Godhead. and there is no difference between his body and his soul. He is both the power and the powerful.
Maharaj Pariksit did not ask his spiritual master Sukadeva Goswami to narrate Lord Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. He wanted to hear first about the Lord's creation. Sukadeva Goswami did not say that the king should hear about the direct transcendental pastimes of the Lord. This time was very short, and naturally Sukadeva Goswami could have gone directly to the 10th canto to make a shortcut of the whole thing, as generally done by the professional reciters. But neither the king nor the great speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam jumped forward like the organizers of week-long Bhagavatam readings. Both of them proceeded systematically, so that future readers and hearers might take lessons from the example of the procedure of reciting Srimad Bhagavatam.
Those who are under the control of the external energy of the Lord, or in other words, those who are in the material world, must first of all know the external energy of the Lord is working under the direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And afterwards one may try to enter into the activities of his internal energy. The mundaners are mostly worshippers of Durga Devi, the external energy of Krishna. But they do not know that Durga Devi is but the shadow of the energy of the Lord. Behind her astonishing display of material workings is the direction of the Lord, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 9.10. The Brahma Samhita affirms that Durga Shakti is working by the direction of Govinda, and without his sanction, the powerful Durga Shakti cannot move even a blade of grass. Therefore, the neophyte devotee, instead of jumping at once to the platform of transcendental pastimes presented by the internal energy of the Lord, may know how great the Supreme Lord is by inquiring about the process of his creative energy. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita also, descriptions of the creative energy and the Lord's hand in it are explained, and the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita has warned the neophyte devotees to be seriously on guard against the pitfall of neglecting knowledge about Krishna in regard to how great he is. Only when one knows Lord Krishna's greatness can one firmly put one's unflinching faith in him. Otherwise, like the common man, even the great leaders of men will mistake Lord Krishna for one of the many demigods, or a historical personality, or a myth only. The transcendental pastimes of the Lord in Vrindavan, or even at Dwarka, are relishable for persons who have already qualified themselves in advanced spiritual techniques, and the common man may be able to attain to such a plane by the gradual process of service and inquiries, as we shall see in the behavior of Maharaj Pariksit. So I think it's very interesting. In this purport, there's a really nice statement about, because sometimes I've thought, and also it can be questioned, why, if Pariksit Maharaj only had like 7 days to live, why would he want to hear all about this creation? Why not just skip to hearing the pastimes of the Lord? I mean, of course you could hear the pastimes of Krishna for 7 days only and easily. So why hear all this other stuff? But here it's important that Srila Prabhupada points out, that the previous acharyas point out, that instead of jumping at once to the platform of transcendental pastime presented by the internal energy of the Lord, one may know how great the Supreme Lord is by inquiring. And then Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami confirms in Chaitanya Charitamrita that one should be on guard against the pitfall of neglecting knowledge about Krishna in regards to how great he is. So we know his greatness by understanding his creation and understanding why and how he created, and just I guess a real devotee just becomes mesmerized by in a sense, in awe and reverence of how great the Lord is. Of course, then we can go on beyond that. But it's a really powerful statement that Prabhupada makes here, I think. Any thoughts?
Yes. I still not quite... I get it from a, logical or makes sense. But I'm not there where if I had 7 days to live, I'd want to hear about the planets and hell and this and that. And
which is a good point. And I guess in one sense, we could say is that's because we don't have any real taste.
Yeah. It's an acceptance of I'm not there. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I don't know about hell.
Because oftentimes we hear how people just want to skip to the 10th canto and specifically hear about the Ras Leela. But, our acharyas and Srila Prabhupada explained that you can hear Ras Leela on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. In the Bhagavad Gita, you can be hearing all of this. So it's not really so much the Leela, it's about how what our appreciation, faith is in Krishna, and then we can hear in so many different ways.
It depends how strong your foundation is in Krishna consciousness, because then if your faith is strong and stable, you don't panic like that and don't feel insecure in that relationship. And then, because there's one God brother came from America, he had this realization, and he said when he first got initiated, he'd always want to be near our spiritual master, or the guru would see him and he'd be physically near him. And then as you get have a relationship with the guru and you're hearing and chanting and you're feeling secure, you could be, not that you don't come to see him when he's in town, but day to day you can be in another temple, another country, you don't feel disconnected. So when he came round again, this God brother wasn't fighting to be in the front like some people just fight, Guru's got to see me. I don't know what you do the rest of the year, but you got to see me, and someone criticized him for that, because first you get criticized for being in front and then you got criticized for not. And then he had the very deep realization, but I feel so close to him, I feel so secure in my relationship that I'm no longer in that space where it's like I need him to see me. An example was given on a more mundane level, like a husband and wife, that you feel so secure. You could be in the same room at some dinner party or this. You don't need to physically be together. You just know the other person in the room, so I feel safe. I feel safe, sheltered. So that's what I was just thinking, that clearly Maharaj Parikshit from his birth has felt a connection with Krishna, that he's able to do that. And the fact that Sukadeva Goswami and all these saints, so many people, Narada Muni, Lord Shiva, Vyasadeva, so many people came there, shows his greatness. So shows he's not a neophyte who's just sitting there like, help me get salvation at all.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. So should we carry on? It's been 20. One more?
Yeah, let's do one more. First 7. Lucky 7.
Lucky 7. Oh, 7. Hare Krishna. So, translation. Kindly describe how the Supreme Lord, who is all-powerful... Oh, is it your turn? Ladies first.
Kindly describe how the Supreme Lord, who is all-powerful, engages his different energies and different expansions in maintaining and again winding up the phenomenal world in the sporting spirit of a player. Purport. In the Katha Upanishad 2.2.13, the Supreme Lord is described as a chief eternal being amongst all other eternal individual beings, Nityo Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitananam. And the one Supreme Lord who maintains innumerable other individual living beings, Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadati Kaman. So all living entities, both in the conditioned state and in the liberated state, are maintained by the Almighty Supreme Lord. Such maintenance is effected by the Lord through his different expansions of self and three principal energies, namely the internal, external and marginal energies. The living entities are his marginal energies, and some of them, in the confidence of the Lord, are entrusted with the work of creation also, as are Brahma, Marichi, etc. And the acts of creation are inspired by the Lord unto them. Taini Brahma Rido. The external energy, Maya, is impregnated with the jivas or conditioned souls. The unconditioned marginal potency acts in the spiritual kingdom, and the Lord, by his different plenary expansions, maintains them in different transcendental relations displayed in the spiritual sky. So the one Supreme Personality of Godhead manifests himself in many, Bahusham, and thus all diversities are in him, and he is in all diversities, although he is nevertheless different from all of them. That is the inconceivable mystic power of the Lord. And as such, everything is simultaneously one with and different from him by his inconceivable potencies. Achintya Beda Beda Tatva.
Very good. Okay, so I guess we're finished there. Thank you all very much. And we shall see you again soon.
Yes.
Kantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki.
Hi.
Don't forget we got these great Bhagavatams here. Second canto, part 1. Radha Ishvara on the front. Haribol.
Haribol.